Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today, we're diving into a book that completely changed the way I think about money and life choices. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. If you're in your late teens or early 20s and trying to figure out your future, trust me, we're going to break down the 5 key lessons that will help you build a smarter financial future. So, let's start with this story behind the book, The Two Dads. Growing up, Robert Kiyosaki had 2 major father figures. The first was his biological dad, who he calls his poor dad. This dad was highly educated, had a stable government job, and followed the traditional path we're all taught. Go to school, get good grades, and find a secure job. He believed in working hard and saving money. Sound familiar? Then, there was his rich dad, his best friend's father. Rich Dad was a self-made entrepreneur who never finished college, but had a deep understanding of how money really works. He wasn't focused on a paycheck. He was focused on building assets, creating multiple income streams, and investing in things that would pay him over time, like real estate and businesses. Kiyosaki quickly realized the huge difference in their mindsets. Poor Dad worked for money, while Rich Dad had money working for him. And that single idea is what kickstarted his entire journey to financial freedom. This brings us to the first and most crucial lesson: understanding the difference between an asset and a liability. Now, you might think you know this, but Kiyosaki's definition is brilliantly simple. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. That's Italiano. Here's where most of us get it wrong. We think our car, or even our home, is an asset. But think about it. If you have a car loan or a mortgage, you're making payments every single month. That money is flowing out of your pocket, making those things liabilities. An asset, on the other hand, would be something like a rental property where tenants pay you rent, or stocks that pay you dividends. That's cash flowing in. Why is this so important for you right now? Because if you don't grasp this concept, you'll spend your life accumulating liabilities, credit card debt, student loans, and that dream house. That's actually a financial drain. Kiyosaki's advice is to shift your focus. Before you buy something, ask yourself, will this make me money, or will it cost me money? Start building your asset column early, and you'll be miles ahead. Now let's talk about something Kiyosaki calls the rat race. This is the cycle that traps so many people, and it's incredibly easy to fall into, especially when you're just starting your career. It goes like this. You get a job, you earn a paycheck, you pay your bills, and you repeat. You might get a raise, but then your expenses go up too. You buy a nicer car, a bigger apartment, and suddenly you're right back where you started, living paycheck to paycheck, just with more expensive stuff. You're working harder and harder, but you're not actually getting any further ahead financially. You're just a hamster on a wheel. This cycle is fueled by a lack of financial education. The traditional school system teaches us how to be good employees, but it doesn't teach us how to be wealthy. The key to escaping the rat race isn't to just work harder at your job. It's to build your financial intelligence. You need to learn how money works. Start learning about investing, whether it's in stocks, real estate, or starting your own small business. Instead of spending your money on things that lose value, like the latest phone or designer clothes, start investing in things that will grow in value and generate income for you down the line. That's how you break the cycle and start building real wealth. This leads us perfectly into key lesson number 3. Work to learn, not to earn. This one is especially for all the young people watching. When you're looking for your first jobs, it's tempting to chase the highest salary. But Kiyosaki argues that in your early career, what you learn is far more valuable than what you earn. If you only focus on a paycheck, you might get a good job, but you won't gain the skills you need to build long-term wealth and become financially independent. Instead, think of your job as a training ground. Look for opportunities where you can learn high-value skills, things like sales, marketing, communication, accounting, or leadership. These are the skills that will empower you to build your own business or make smart investments later on. Even if a job doesn't pay the most, if it teaches you how to sell or how to manage a team, it could be the most valuable career move you ever make. Don't let your job title define you. Get creative, start a side hustle, and absorb every skill you can. Your 20s are for building a foundation of knowledge that will pay you back for the rest of your life. Okay, let's move on to one of my favorite concepts: the power of passive income. Most of us are taught to think about money in only one way. Active income. You trade your time for money. You work 40 hours. You get paid for 40 hours. If you stop working, the money stops coming in. But Rich Dad taught Kiyosaki that the truly wealthy don't rely on active income alone. They build streams of passive income. Passive income is money that flows in whether you're actively working or not. it's the ultimate goal. Think about it. Money that comes in from a rental property you own, dividends from stocks that are paid out every quarter, or an online course you created that sells while you sleep. The more sources of passive income you can build, the less you have to depend on a traditional job. You're no longer trading time for money. Instead, your assets are working for you, generating income around the clock. This is the definition of true financial freedom. It's not about being rich in the flashy sense. It's about having the freedom to choose how you spend your time because your income isn't tied to your presence at a desk. Finally, let's talk about key lesson number 5. Embracing fear and risk. Let's be real. The idea of investing or starting a business can be terrifying. We're all afraid of losing money, of making a bad decision, of failing. This fear is what keeps most people in the safe lane, the one that leads directly into the rat race. But Kiyosaki argues that if you want to build wealth, you have to learn to manage your fear and take calculated risks. Notice, I said calculated risks, not reckless ones. The rich aren't just gambling. They educate themselves first, so they understand the risks they're taking. They know that every investment has the potential to fail, but they also know that the biggest risk of all is playing it too safe and doing nothing. The fear of losing money is what paralyzes people, but the wealthy see losses not as failures, but as learning opportunities. They analyze what went wrong, learn from it, and make a smarter decision next time. So, the lesson here isn't to be fearless. It's to be financially educated, so you can take smart risks that have the potential for massive rewards. Don't let fear dictate your financial future. So, to recap the 5 key lessons from Rich Dad Poor Dad. First, know the difference between an asset and a liability. Second, focus on escaping the rat race by building your financial education. Third, in your early career, work to learn, not just to earn. Fourth, build streams of passive income to achieve true freedom. And fifth, learn to manage fear and take calculated risks. These ideas are simple, but they are incredibly powerful if you apply them. Start small, educate yourself, and begin shifting your mindset today. You have the power to design a life of financial freedom, and it starts right now. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. What was your biggest takeaway? Let me know in the comments below. See you next time.